Okay, so the next part of the lesson talks about Rome and the Prince of the Covenant. And let's continue our reading. It's best to read the scriptures because you will understand the explanation much better when you know what the scripture says. So we're reading now from verses 16 to 28. It says, "The invader will do as he pleases. No one will be able to stand against him. He will establish himself in the beautiful land and will have the power to destroy it. He will determine to come with the might of his entire kingdom and will make an alliance with the king of the south, and he will give him a daughter in marriage in order to overthrow the kingdom. But his plans will not succeed to help him. Then he will turn his attention to the coastlands and will take many of them. But a commander will put an end to his insolence and will turn his insolence back on him. After this, he will turn back toward the fortresses of his own country, but will stumble and fall to be seen no more. His successor will send out a tax collector to maintain the royal splendor. In a few years, however, he will be destroyed, yet not in anger or in battle. He will be succeeded by a contemptible person who has not been given the honor of royalty. He will invade the kingdom when its people feel secure, and he will seize it through intrigue. Then an overwhelming army will be swept away before him. Both it and a prince of the covenant will be destroyed. After coming to an agreement with him, he will act deceitfully, and with only a few people he will rise to power. When the richest provinces feel secure, he will invade them and will achieve what neither his fathers nor his forefathers did. He will distribute plunder, loot, and wealth amongst his followers. He will plot and overthrow the fortresses, but only for a time." 25. "With a large army he will stir up his strength and courage against the king of the south. The king of the south will wage war with a large and very powerful army, but he will not be able to stand because of the plots devised against him. Those who eat from the king's provision will try to destroy him. His army will be swept away, and many will fall in battle. The two kings, with their hearts bent on evil, will sit at the same table and lie to each other, but to no avail, because an end will still come at the appointed time. The king of the north will return to his country with great wealth, but his heart will be set against the holy covenant. He will take action against it and then return to his own country." Okay, so here, even though the text is difficult, we see some imagery that's been portrayed in this text that has already been given to us in other parts of Daniel. Now, there's a transition of power from the Greek kingdoms to pagan Rome, to the Roman Empire. And this is what's depicted in Daniel 11 verse 16. It says, "But who comes against him shall do according to his own will, and no one will stand against him. He shall stand in the glorious land with destruction in his power." Now the glorious land that's been spoken of here is Jerusalem. And it's an area where ancient Israel existed. Okay? The new power that now takes over the area is pagan Rome. And we know the same event is also represented in the horizontal expansion of the little horn, which reaches the glorious land, which we find in Daniel 8, verse 9. So it's clear that the power in charge of the world at this time is the pagan Roman Empire. And some additional clues are given to us in biblical text. For example, it says the one who imposes taxes, okay, that must and can only refer to Caesar Augustus, because it is during the reign of Caesar Augustus that Jesus is born. Mary and Joseph travel to Joseph's city, which is Bethlehem, for the census. And also according to prophecy, this ruler would be, Caesar Augustus would be succeeded, it says in Daniel 11:21, by a vile person. And history does show us that Augustus was indeed succeeded by such a person whose name was Tiberius. Tiberius was actually the adoptive son of Augustus. Tiberius has been known in history to be an eccentric and a vile person. So that description fits perfectly with Tiberius. And most importantly, it was during the reign of Tiberius that the Prince of the Covenant, that phrase was something we just read also in Daniel 11:22, would be broken. And this refers to the crucifixion of Christ. So Caesar Augustus was the ruler when Christ was born. He was then taken over by Tiberius, and Tiberius was ruling pagan Roman Empire when Christ was crucified. And when we see the phrase, the Prince of the Covenant would be broken, it refers to the crucifixion of Christ. Christ, as we know, is called the Prince, the Messiah. There's biblical texts, many biblical texts around that. And he is then put to death during the reign of Tiberius, of course, by Pilate, who was the governor appointed by Tiberius in that region. It's important that we look at this because Jesus, being the Prince of the Covenant, is a powerful marker for us in prophecy, because it helps the flow of historical events, and it gives us powerful evidence of God's amazing foreknowledge, that the fact that God has been right all along Earth's history, because whatever he says will happen, happens. And amidst all the political, historical events, Jesus of Nazareth, known as the Prince of the Covenant, is revealed in texts. Jesus remains central to prophecy. That's an important point to take away. Jesus is the center of prophecy. Gained together, without restriction. We ask this in your name. Amen.